Hello and welcome to Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. I'm John Veneri. In this program, we take your questions. Father Gruner answers them. We talk about them. And we ask you to please continue to send them to us. Questions@thefatimacenter.com. That's the email address. Now, this is a follow-up from a previous program. It says, in your last question and answer period on April 16th, 2015, you said that people should kneel to go to communion. I agree with that, Father, if you're able, but I am older and have arthritic knees, and it's impossible for me to kneel, and I barely walk using a cane. Would it be okay to bow my head and say, my Lord and my God, just before I receive communion in my case? I think we know the answer to that, but I think you can explain.
Well, first of all, obviously it's understood, just like the law, the church, what we have to do, dogmatically speaking, to receive the Blessed Sacrament is we have to make a gesture, and that gesture would obviously have to be within our capacity, but it has to make a gesture of adoration. As I think it's certainly as Pope Paul VI, his encyclical on the 3rd of September, 1965, Mysterium Fidei, he points out that if we receive communion not kneeling, then we have to make some gesture, whether it's a genuflection or a bow or something to acknowledge as an act of worship, and it's something external. Okay, so now if the church always, for example, we have the law of the church which says you cannot eat meat on Fridays and you have to fast, on certain days. But if your health doesn't permit you to do that, the church is not saying, well, even though your health, you're going to die if you don't eat meat today, we're going to enforce it on you anyway. No, it's understood that
the church's disciplines are always very reasonable.
Yeah, so the rule is, if you can kneel down, then you should kneel down for communion. Now, if you're in the Russian Catholic Church, you would actually fully prostrate with your forehead touching the ground before you receive the Blessed Sacrament. And it's showing, obviously, an attitude of adoration. But that's not what the practice is in the Latin Church, but certainly the traditional practice has been on both knees receiving the Blessed Sacrament. Now, if somebody is incapable of doing that because of their arthritis, then of course it's not expected of that person.
Yeah, I've seen people. We've seen wheelchairs brought up to the communion rail.
Yeah, I've given communion to people who obviously can't kneel or for all serious.
Yeah, where I go to Mass, there was one woman. She was in the front pew, and the priest actually came out and gave her communion because she.
You're talking about a traditional Mass.
Traditional Mass, yes, and she couldn't because she. So all the disciplines of the church is for the salvation of souls, and they're not meant to be, disciplines for the sake of discipline.
No, and they're not meant to. So it's just as our Lord said, the Sabbath is meant for man, not man for the Sabbath. God insisted we take the Sabbath, but it's really for our own good. It's not so that we can make more money or do something else so you can continue working, but it's really for man. But if in turn, as when he was working cures on the Sabbath day, they said, well, you can't do that. He said, well, you would take your donkey out of a ditch. Trying to pull a donkey out of a ditch is going to be a bit of work. But you take it out on the Sabbath, there's more work than just saying, I will, you be made clean, or I will be cured. So the Sabbath is meant for man to get closer to God, and these rules are for men. So in this case, if a person can't kneel, he's not expected to kneel.
Yes,
but yes, he should still give an external sign of his adoration.
Yeah, basically what this gentleman is saying is it sounds already he's doing all the right things.
Yeah,
he's doing the right things. So there's no need to worry, and we hope your arthritis gets better.
Yes, exactly.
And we will see you all on the next program. Thank you.